Coatsy from the St. Pete Times Forum down there, where the Lightning and the Flyers will go for the second time this week. But as we talk each week, we're running out of games, 17 left. The Flyers just 2 points behind. But that road trip, you won at 12, they got 10, so Voracek wins. But you got to leave impressed with the way they finished out that road trip, homestand, with a win over Tampa.
Oh, absolutely, Mike. I mean, when you take a look at the whole homestand, they did exactly what they wanted to do. Oh, yeah, they threw a shoe against the Edmonton Oilers, but you can't have everything. But I just really am impressed by the way that the team is playing as a team right now. And consider that they didn't have Jake Voracek at a crucial time there during that homestand. So now you head to the road, places that have been very tough for the Flyers this year. They lost their opener and their second game in the opening of the season this year. So they've come back here to try to, let's say, regroup and do a little bit better job this time when there's so much more at stake.
Coatsy, also, it seems like we ask you this every week. We go back and forth with the goaltenders, but Mason has played really 2 strong games. He's going to play again tomorrow night. I guess at this point, when you got 17 games left, you're just riding the hot guy as the season comes to a close, and whoever gets to the finish line, the hottest, gets that first start if, in fact, they would make a playoff series, right?
In a normal circumstance, that's probably very true, but the analytics tell you that if you play your starting goaltender the first game of a back, your likelihood of winning the next game is less than playing your backup. So don't be surprised that if you see the analytics kind of take place here and put a Neuvirth in on Saturday night against the Florida Panthers.
Coatsy, the Flyers haven't had the best of success in Tampa. You mentioned that season opener. In fact, I think the numbers are 0-6-2 at Tampa, although the last 2 were by 1 goal each. What do the Fly guys have to do right tomorrow night to be successful again against Tampa?
Got to survive the first 10 minutes for sure, because there's going to be a lot of anger in that Tampa Bay Lightning team, considering the fact that they were embarrassed by the Flyers on Monday and flew all the way back here to Tampa to outshoot Boston drastically. They had 42 shots on net and lost 1-0 in overtime. So they're going to be a burr on their saddle when they hit the ice tomorrow night. So if you can get through the 10 minutes, first 10 minutes, which is typical of playing on the road, but this is going to be more important because of the nature of the week and the nature of the losses that Tampa's taken after they had that long win streak. So if you get through that first 10 and keep everything in line and continue to play your style, then you should be able to have an opportunity to win this hockey game. But both games are going to be very, very tough against 2 really good teams.
And Ben Bishop sat out in Philadelphia, but that might be who's in the pipes tomorrow night for the Lightning.
I would think so, Mike. Listen, that kid Wisniewski, his numbers, he was 9-1 going into that game. He was first star in that loss. I mean, he should have been. I mean, Gostisbehere was, but Wisniewski was second. But think about it. That guy stood on his head, or we would have been maybe 9-0, 9-2.
Steve Coates is in Tampa with the Flyers. Ron Hextall said he's looking to have Jake back on Tuesday against Detroit. So not the next couple of games this weekend, but they can kind of hang around. He'd be a great lift to get back on Tuesday.
Well, you get one of the top offensive threats in the National Hockey League, and it comes at a time where you need that scoring. It's a team that struggled to get scoring, and then all of a sudden all the guys that weren't scoring are scoring. So you get a little bit of an added push having those players available to you. So if Voracek's back, that makes you that much more effective, especially at a time where really a tough schedule. We talk about this weekend with Tampa Bay and Florida, but then you go home, you have the Carnival on Sunday, and the next thing you know it, you're at home against Detroit, on the road in Chicago, back home against Pittsburgh, and then on a 4-game road trip, including the Islanders, Columbus, Colorado, and Arizona. So it's not going to get any easier.
It's one of those times where you wake up and go, now what city am I in again? Right, Coatsy?
What's that? I couldn't hear you.
It's one of those times where you wake up and go, what city am I in again? Where am I?
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm checking around. I'm just walking into the hotel here in Tampa. Big-time hockey weather here, guys. 85 degrees.
It's Coatsy, and right there across the street, wasn't that a Dave Anderchuk's? Didn't he own the restaurant across the street from the St. Pete's Forum before?
No, I didn't know that one. He might. The place that I've heard, I've never been there is a place called Hat Tricks.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, it's been a couple
doesn't
different
own
things. Yeah, it was a couple different things. This is years ago.
And by the way, they sold a lot of vitamins. It's the Amalie Arena now. I know that you nostalgically keep calling it the St. Pete Times 4.
That's what I remember.
I didn't want it. That's, Yeah, I know you're on a real good roll, Mike. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Hey, Coatsy, Shane Gostisbehere again. Now, by the way, Howie Roseman, we had him on before you came on, and one of the words he used in his press conference was superlatives. So, if we're talking about Ghost, find some more superlatives, right? Team record for rookie defenseman, 14 goals in 47 games. What else can you say about the Ghost?
You had a whole week, Pete, to come up with a new word.
But if Howie Roseman used it, then it must be right.
You went back to the well.
Are you surprised?
No, not at all, Michael. Well, the Ghost is an amazing character. I mean, he is. He's just a quiet guy. Loves the game. Just absolutely loves the game. And it's just unbelievable what he has done in a very short period of time.
Well, did you see this happening, when he's in camp and people are like, well, he's just not ready. Last year they brought him up for like a handful of games. He's not ready. Is there a feeling of like, man, when this guy gets up, he's going to be something to watch? I mean, it doesn't seem like that was anybody's opinion.
There was always that propensity for him to have this type of success. But when you look at the beginning of training camp, you see, he had a huge game one night in training camp, just huge. But the idea was he was going back to the minors no matter what. He wasn't going to get called up no matter what. And the only reason he didn't get called up was because of injury problems. That's where the opportunity came. And that opportunity allowed him to just do things that nobody had seen back at that blue line in a long time, and they just could not afford to send him back.
Yeah, Mark Streit's injury that you're referencing there. How about the power play and the way that they've been doing right now, Coatsy? It seems like it's clicking. I know in the game that you and I were at against Columbus, there were some diagonal passes I saw. Like, you can really see the game when you're up that high, and it just seems like the power play is certainly peaking right now.
Yeah, really since the midway point.
Yeah, it's actually been very, very good. I mean, when I say good, they went a little dry there for a while, but the opportunity were there, and that's the key. And the coaching staff, sure, they had four posts hit against the Edmonton Oilers. So those things you can't control. Some nights they go in, some nights they don't. But this team has a really good group on the power play. And the other thing is that the second power play has been chipping in lately. That's huge. If you can get your first minute and your second minute, both putting in the power play goals, that's big. And you're seeing a little bit more action on that second power play now, despite the loss of Del Zotto.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny you brought up Del Zotto, because I just wanted to ask you about the play of the defense in the absence of Del Zotto, because we keep talking about Ghost, but what about the other guys that aren't maybe getting as much credit right now because Ghost is stealing so much of the headlines, and Del Zotto's injury kind of made you feel like, well, this guy was really playing well. So what about the other guys?
Well, what this is basically let's say the revitalization of Andrew McDonald. That's what this is. I mean, Andrew McDonald was sent to the minors, got the big contract, came here with a lot of good things that were supposed to be happening with him, and it just didn't work out. So he got sent to the minors. And he's a offensive type player, very much like Del Zotto, with a little bit more of a defensive upside. But Del Zotto up until that time had been our best defenseman throughout the year. He would have had my vote for our best defenseman if he had not got hurt. But Andrew McDonald, he's just done a great job. So we really haven't missed Del Zotto that much. And when you guys like the Schultzes of this world and Mark Streit, and how about Gudis? I mean, just scary how everybody's playing right now back on that blue line. So, yeah, you're right. Everybody deserves a lot of credit for what's happening, despite having Michael Deserve reserve line.
And Gudis put the puck in the net a couple times. Were you at that game? We
were rooting for a Goody hat trick, but instead of him getting a hat, then he got sent off the ice because he got a double minor. So much for trying to get the empty netter at the end.
A double minor from Gudis is about a surprise PT going back to the well with the same phrase.
Wait, I want to hear his thing. What was your line, Coatsy? What did you say? It was a great what?
Well, I said there was a great move by the coach to put him on the power play because I was joking the whole time. I said, you see that shot? You see that pass? You see that shot? He's trying to get a play. Well, he's got an opportunity to get a hat trick, but the game's, well in hand, so Dave Hextall put him on the power play. I thought it was a great idea. And then all of a sudden, Goody forgot where he was, and he whacked Polino right in the head. He had an opportunity just prior to that, top of the circle, right to the right or right to the left, to be able to take that big slap shot and get the hat trick. Next thing you know, bang, he was whacking people again. Has to leave the ice.
Steve Coates with us here on the Sports Bash. Coates, goal 22 for Brayden Schenn the other night. He had a goal, he had an assist, 5 shots on goal versus the Lightning. It is officially now, I think, the Brayden Schenn coming out party. He's absolutely on fire. What do you think?
Oh, he's been really good. Brayden Schenn might have arrived, ladies and gentlemen. He is doing things I've never seen him do, and just his compete the other night at the last play of the game where he got out, blocked a shot, blocked it again, and then knocked the puck out in the neutral zone. It was just absolutely spectacular, and that's just the type of thing that Brayden had to do. We always knew that he had the skating ability, he had the size, but he never had that second effort, that thing that really wanted to make you put him over the top. But boy, he's got it now, feeling it, and he knows where the net is, and so all those different ingredients along playing with Claude Hughes right now.
Well, and Cootsie, Sean Couturier had an assist the other night, too. I guess, Cootsie, how much credit then do you give to Coach Hackstall for getting the most effort out of these guys, a guy like Sean, a guy like Brayden Schenn? Do you give some credit to the Coach Hackstall?
Well, I think it's really simple, Pete, when you take a look at the team and what they're accomplishing with maybe 2 changes this year. When you think about Gagne's being one. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Gagne, Neuvirth, and then up front, the only change was, you got Gagne, Neuvirth, and Goss is there. Those are the only changes you made on your hockey club from last year, and look what you've got. And this team has really, really shown an increase an ability to win hockey games, to be competitive in a hockey game since the beginning of the season. So I would say, yes, Dave Hackstall has done a magnificent job.
And, this team, by the way, 2 points out. Coachy, have you noticed this team mature, grow up, embrace? I mean, have you noticed this team change as it's been later in the year and they've gotten closer in this playoff race? Because they're legitimately right there, right now, and I don't think a lot of people thought they'd be in this spot.
Well, I would say the maturity level comes on the ice. The group as a whole has been a very good group, the whole time. It's a group that really gets along with each other. There is no cliques or anything like that. Everybody does it. Everybody just enjoys being around everybody. You can see it on the plane. You can see it on the bus. You can see it on the train. And you can see it at practice. All the different elements you look for in a team that's happy. And this is a happy team. So that translates into what's happening on the team, on the ice side now, because the coaches provided something different and a different system and a different thought process, and they're seeing a success. So that success creates more confidence, and that's what's happening. It's just growing and growing and growing.
Coatsy, you proudly tell me that you started in hockey in 1973. Well, the Flyers Wives Carnival started in 1977. I don't know if you were at that very first one, but by gosh, you've been in a lot of them. Tell me what your role will be on Sunday at the Wells Fargo Center from 1:30 to 6.
Well, first of all, Pete, I think, give or take a couple of years, this will be maybe my 36th carnival.
It's a long time.
That's just a couple, right? Yeah, 36.
That's just a few. Yeah, just a few.
Yeah. We'll be doing the same things we've been doing for a long time now, where we'll do a broadcast. It's kind of like a telethon from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, where we'll have about 6-7 members of the broadcast team, members of people from CSN that will act as talent during the game. During the broadcast in that afternoon, and pretty well like to talk to as many players as possible. There's only so much you can do during a 2-hour broadcast, but it's really a great afternoon. It's probably one of the best charities you'll ever see in a one-day event. And the players, it doesn't matter how many times we've gone through, so many different players over all these years, and they always just really take to this. They get involved. They understand what it's about. And I've never seen a player not happy about having to attend the carnival. It's just absolutely a spectacular day for our fans to be able to interact with their heroes that they watch on TV and listen on the radio every night. And then next thing you know, they have an opportunity to stand right beside them and just be part of it.
That's this Sunday, the Flyers Wives Fight for Lives Carnival. And, hey, we just got the news yesterday that the Flyers and Penguins are going to go back outside. It's not going to be the Winter Classic on New Year's, which Pete and I were at a couple of years ago. That's not as fun because getting up the next day for a New Year's Day game, not as fun. This might be more fun in these games when you play the Penguins next February.
Yeah, that's kind of exciting. I mean, I've been involved with two of them now, one at Citizens Bank Park, the other one at Fenway Park. And that was just spectacular. So I'm looking forward to seeing the ice at Heinz Field. It's a nice football stadium right on the river. And
what's better for hockey, the baseball stadiums or the football stadiums?
That's a hard question for me because I haven't seen one in a football stadium outside of being on TV. The baseball, The baseball, they put at first base to third base line. I guess they've done they've done all their math and understanding of what the best way to put the baseball in the baseball field. Back in the day when, ironically, we're in Tampa right now. Back in the day when they first came down to play hockey in the National Hockey League, they played in the Tampa Fairgrounds one year, and then came over and played the St. Pete Dome, the Thunderdome there in St. Petersburg. So they put the hockey rink first base line down to home plate. So they would go all the way up and back into the right field, and then they would have stands on there, and then on the other side of the rink, and then they'll have all that baseball stadium looking over. It was really a nice configuration. But I guess they like it better by putting it first to third for these outdoor games.
Well, that's February 18th of 2017, and the Flyers and Pengs a couple years later will play in Philly, but we'll tell you that a couple years down the road. Steve Coates has the call tomorrow night with Tim Saunders on the Flyers Radio Network as the Flyers take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Coatesy, enjoy the beautiful downtown Tampa.
Michael, Peter, thank you as always, and I'm going to try my best.